Be live here in a second, hopefully. I'll do a little quick back intro and keep rolling on it. Okay, I'm
In
assuming
your honor.
up and live. If not, oh well, they'll have to catch up. So oh my God, I need a Yingling so bad, Jimmy.
In your honor, sir.
That's one of those things that
Sorry.
2022 has not afforded me a lot of opportunity to drink Yingling. I'll tell you that. So you were saying, you felt it flip in December. And it was funny because December is historically, the wind down month. And I don't know what happened either. It just got turned up so high. And I think for you and I, especially on the Prana Wash side, we were working on our 30th franchisee since we've bought the company. And I mean, that's pretty impressive on its own. We were at 29. So, I was hell bent on breaking that mark. And, we had a guy, I remember it had to be like the 29th or something. And I'm like desperately trying to check out for a couple of days. And, Christmas is already like way far in the rearview mirror. And I called the guy up and I said, this is it. Because if you don't want it, I got somebody else who does. And he's like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And, I'm like, okay, well, this is what we need to do. And he's like, okay, got it. And then he didn't do it.
And he didn't do it. Ugh.
But the good thing is he did it after the new year. It just was really just a timing thing, and his timing didn't work with ours. So we can still sit here and say, we successfully have added 30 franchisees to the Prana Wash brand since you and I getting our hands on it. And
that's way past our expectations. I mean, adding that many new ones. I mean, it was, how do we control what we found and got and build upon? And then it was like, okay, now let's go get more.
Well, simultaneously we have like worldwide deals going on. I just heard of a deal that we just closed in Spain. We're looking in the Middle East where, I'm on the phone, you were on the phone today with Kuwait.
I know. I'm like,
you don't expect to say, right? Like, oh, what'd you do? Like, I was on the phone with a bunch of guys in Kuwait.
My wife did this today. She goes, what? Huh? Yeah. Like, yeah, Kuwait. Last week was Saudi, or 2 weeks ago was Saudi. I'm like, woohoo.
Yeah, so it's definitely a different world. And again, it's really wild because I think they're really way more affected than we are. I think we kind of grew numb to it. And, we kind of like, oh, we have the highest numbers ever, which we had on New Year's Day, the highest numbers ever in the US. And we just were like, all right, whatever, like we got to keep going. And I'm telling you, I'm in Miami right now. I'm traveling and there is like no sign of this place, slowing down. Traffic is back to normal pre-COVID depths. Everybody
weren't you in a place sorry, interrupt. Weren't you in a new place that we just opened last week?
Yeah, so I went down to Atlanta. So we launched Atlantic Station. So we have at this huge. I mean, talk about Mecca. It's 7,200 parking spaces in the one main structure. And then off of that, there's parking decks everywhere, Jimmy. So there's all this residential. There's 10,000 residents that live on this property.
Wow.
It's literally city blocks. When you see it, it's so cool that there's like 2 spots where they're building hotels and they're in the middle of where they have the parking structure. You can see they literally built 3 levels of parking and then they put city. Like, I'm not talking little city, like, oh, cute little brownstones. I'm talking 70-story buildings on top of it. And, Microsoft is there, Wells Fargo, BB&T, Facebook is moving in. And it's got an IKEA, it's got a Target, and it's just this mecca right in the top of Midtown in Atlanta, right before Buckhead. Yeah, right before like split 75, 85 for those of you in the know. Right up there you go. It's like right there in the pocket. And I traveled. It was fun. I had both of my boys with me. So I had Max and Wyatt. Max just turned 18. And it was cool because like they really want to learn the business. So Wyatt's 15. And they spent the day working with our director of multi-units, and, they were unboxing stuff, setting up this location, making it better. And they got to use all the tools, and we introduced some new technology there. And, it makes it better, faster. But my kids were using the DA, the dual action orbital. And, they were waxing cars. And my one son, he's like, Dad, I got to compound a car today, and he was surprised at what's not difficult to use, and, and I'm like, okay, it's a little different than like a high speed orbital, thing at, 1200 RPMs in your hand, and, you can burn the paint. Like a DA is a really, really nice tool. It's like one of the best innovations in the industry that I've seen in, 20 years, probably. So it spins and it oscillates. So you don't get all that heat, but it actually does a really nice, consistent job. So, and we were using actually battery powered cordless ones, Jimmy. So like we weren't even attached to anything. It was like, you could really move quick. You could do a nice job. And
well, you combine that with your new applicator that you were showing me for the waterless solution that we use.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, Prana Wash is actually a waterless, car wash, a hand car wash, and, national franchise, international franchise, over 200 locations around the world. It's funny. I'm in my hotel. Juan Romolina's in the other room, the president of International. We have a meeting coming up here in a little bit, and we're doing training actually. So it's actually interesting. This is actually a great topic for everybody. So, one of the things that I've done in the past few weeks is I've really ramped up our sales side. Okay. And so if you guys know, I have Prana Wash, I have Pronto Clean, which is a dry cleaning and laundry mobilized, delivery locker system, goes really nice with Pronto Wash. We have Success System, Restaurant Success System, Detailer Insider Secrets. So we have all these different components to the businesses that we have. But, at the end of the day, the Prana Wash brand was built off of, kind of fixed sites. So like you go to a mall, in Florida, and odds are we're there. So, that model is great, but, I bring all this mobile technology and, app technology and things. And really for me, it's technology and mobilization. So, you bring all that in, well, okay, now we have, I don't even know how many vehicles we have, but I know that there's 8 of them being upfitted right now, plus another bus, Jimmy. My short bus, it's the West Matana short bus. It's very much like the one he used to go to school on.
Wes, we love you.
Special school that he went to. So, so one of the things that it's like a complete game changer, because if you're in that space, and the reason I say this applies to anybody, it's really sales is sales. Okay. And I don't think of myself as a sales guy. I've pretty much avoided that moniker my whole life. But the thing that's a fact, and and I want people to confuse, there's a big difference between marketing and sales, right? So, marketing does a lot of it, but at some point, somebody's got to ask for the sale, right? So that's why even in your marketing, you send them to a sales page. If you're on the internet, if you're at a retail store, it's like, okay, is there anything else? Is there anything you couldn't find today? You were looking for?
You want socks with that belt?
Yeah. So really funny, Jimmy. So I love the architecture of sales. So, I launched some new software over the holidays, mind mapping stuff, does workflows, org charts and crazy stuff. So, I was messing with that. And then inside of our software, it has workflows. So, if you guys don't know, we own one of the most powerful marketing automation software on the planet, and we apply it to all of our businesses. But I was messing around, and the workflow thing is just a bonus in my kind of mind mapping thing. But it was nice because, it was different, because when you're inside of our system, it does awesome, great stuff, but it's really tied to what the software is doing. When you're actually just thinking about a workflow and there's no limitations, it's definitely different. It was kind of wild. And there's very few limitations. You have to think through them in our system, and you can get it to do anything. So recently we just started a new booking process, and the process, I just want it to be super simple, right? The easy thing, download the app. Well, like somebody tells you to do something, you want to go buy a cup of coffee, and somebody tells you to download the app to buy the cup of coffee. You're like, I'm going to go to the next place and get a cup of coffee.
I like to say that's bullshit. Yes.
Yeah. You're not going to do it. But if they just said text coffee to this number, and, you'll have that thing in your hand in less than a minute, you'd be like, coffee, so I've been just on this, big bandwagon about how do we make it better, faster, easier for people to buy from us. So, I was working through that. It just got me like thinking. So the other day I was in Atlanta. It was 6:30 in the morning, Jimmy, and somebody had texted into our system, and they texted that they were having trouble, right? They like got stuck. They couldn't make a decision about what service that they wanted. Okay. And this person's at, Austin airport. They're about to get on a plane. They're taking the time to like book, but they just didn't know which service. So I happened to be like awake because I'm like a vampire. I sleep like, 3 hours a day if I'm lucky. So I responded, right? I totally responded like somewhat robotic, oh, so it looks like you'd like to book a car wash today while you're traveling. And they're like, oh yes, and I'm like, I'm happy to help you. We can do that right here. So I was I was pinging them, texting them inside of our system. So it's in our system, but it's actually on my phone, which is totally cool. And I'm just like, I'm rolling through with them. And finally, I get them to the point, I get all the information, I get the location of the vehicle. They had used our key exchange system. So they'd already dropped their keys. And they were, just needed to finish it up. So I got done, and they were getting basically a car wash with wax. And we have a promotion going. One of the things that I tell everybody about marketing is there's a couple of things. You should be 3 months ahead of your marketing. Really, really important. And then stay there. But every month there's certain things you should do. You should have a promotion, and it doesn't need to be a discount. It can be a feature. It can just be highlighting a certain product that you have, but you should have something that you're talking about that month. So lately we've been talking about our best offer ever. So we have a great product. It's called a Super. It's like that really nice detail, and we're doing like $50 off it. So it's economical, and it's not our highest level, but it's like that next one. So it's like really good interior, really good exterior. And, so I got it to the price point. Juan had hit me up. They were pushing in Miami, and they wanted a promotion, and they wanted it to be impactful. And we were going to run a promotion. And this is interesting for everybody else about offers. We were going to run a promotion that took one of our products, which is that, this kind of get your car washed with a wax on the outside. And we were going to, slightly reduce that to try to get the volume up, because figuring it's after the holidays and people are, a little tapped, and we're just, we went in with that psychology. And Juan hits me with this, and I was like, I'm like, well, I jammed it in our marketing team's thing, like 11th hour. You had to see them, Jimmy. They were not happy on the 29th also, as I was working, and I did that. So they got to come up with creative. They got to make ads. They got to get this stuff programmed and set up. And, we got things that are firing off on the first automatically. They got to go change it. So instead of changing their promotion, I just added to it. I just said, let's do this other one, and let's see what happens. So it was really designed to get the people from that one product up a level, right? So I was trying to get them to like spend more. So I knew that we had this promotion going on. The person booked this, wash and wax, and I had the image that they had sent me to proof it. So it was probably like 5 minutes later, I was like, oh, I was looking at your service, and I forgot to tell you, we have this great promotion going on right now. We have a service that's actually gets you everything that you were getting, but it gets all the interior of your car, like super sweet. It does this. And I'm like, and today for you, it's only $20 more, and that's a $50 savings. And sure enough, I didn't even look at it again because our customer care team was in by that time. And I went back to the text to show somebody the text that I was communicating. And sure enough, if they said, yes, would love the upgrade, I was like, woo, upsell via text,
from a phone in my slippers.
Oh my God, it was like awesome. Like it was so rewarding. And so that's why
I gotta tell you that I was just looking at some numbers today, and that what's it called? Best
offer ever.
Best offer ever. We're seeing about a 26% increase right now, just tied to that one product. I mean, it is.
Yeah, it's slamming.
It's
really
slamming.
Nice. For those in the detail world out there, it's a great offer. It takes it takes a product that had good margins to begin with, and our guys have gotten really good at delivering it. So it doesn't really. It's like it's not much more work for them. So they're getting more revenue on their vehicle or at their shop. And then the guys get tipped on top of that. So they're commissioned. So they're getting a percentage of the sale. Then they're getting more tips because now we're bumping them up. So not only are we making more money, but the company in its entirety is the company's making money, but like everybody in the company's making money. My technicians are making more. So what a great thing. And I'm telling you, like I saw today, they only had 4 services booked on a vehicle, but the vehicle was over $500, just by that. And I'm like all day long, one person, $500, 6 hours worth of work. Like,
I got to tell you, I've had 2 different text technicians text me, thank you, because they're realizing what we're doing and it's impacting them. And for them to find me, we'll call them the ivory tower, but I'm not really, but they said thank you, which is
that does not look very ivory, Jimmy. It looks like a dungeon, it looks like Silence of the Lambs dungeon.
It's my cave, that's for sure, my main cave.
So yeah, so again, like it's like one of those things, but again, like I jammed it in 11th hour. So again, I like to plan things 3 months out. I like to keep people informed, but sometimes you just got to make a decision for your company, and that was the right decision. And I might have upset a couple people, but at the end of the day, it was the right decision. And now more people are happy. So one of the things that we didn't do, and I circled back on it, and that's what we've seen a lot of traction from. I really started pushing it like to the management team, and I made sure that like customer care offers it to every single person they talk to, regardless of what they're buying. On hold message, things like that just reinforce it. And then, so the next time we do a promotion, one of the things I did figure out is like, let's get the material into the stores sooner so that they could be prepped. And that would have probably, I'm telling you, Jimmy, if you're seeing 26, it would have probably been another 5 points if we had done that. But I'll take 26, into a new year at 26% up over last year, in previous years. We don't even track against last year. We track against pre-COVID numbers really. But anyway, it's nice. It's rewarding. It was worth the pain and suffering for everybody, because now everybody's getting high fives and it's effective. So that was my one sales thing was texting, and promotions wise, you have to have something to talk about, and you can change it up. But it's nice. It's something that goes in your emails. It gives you a reason to communicate on the 1st and the 15th. Right. And then it's going to expire. So when it's going to expire at the end of the month, we'll hit them up, a few days before the end of the month. So like, that's all like great promotional stuff. The other side of sales that I've been working on, Jimmy. So as you know, with our software, we built training portals. Okay. So we kind of flipped it on its head, and we used the software a little bit differently than what it's actually designed. And it worked out awesome. So now we have digital training portals that we're showing off worldwide. We have investor portal. We have an owner's portal. And these are just loaded with information, secure, that you have to get login access to get to, and they can get to it, see it, update it. And we're doing all kinds of linking stuff outside of it. So we don't have to even go in and mess with it. It just like updates. So all of that is awesome. Well, I said, well, heck, the next thing we did was management training. So we're, the biggest thing that I see, I think everybody's in this a little bit of a hiring crisis out there, right? There's just not enough people. There's like everybody, people are spending more money, and like they're buying people, right? They're just getting bodies and they're buying people right now, right? Unemployment, at a super low percentage. So, and we're pretty good at the hiring. And if anybody, checks out any of our stuff and you go and look at like Hiring Success or any of those tools that we have, like it's fantastic. And we use it every single day of our lives. We do eat our own dog food, as I say. But the next one really, when you look at the people pillar inside of Success Systems, that pillar is it's the hiring, it's onboarding, and then it's really, training. Then there's like path and progression, and then there's retention. So there's more pieces of it that really need your attention. And so hiring, I think we're pretty good at, even though there's not enough bodies on the planet for us to hire, I don't think. But we go through a lot of them before we pick them. We're pretty selective, and we do that. But the onboarding, I think our onboarding for our technicians has always been pretty solid, but the onboarding for our managers, we have a lot of connected technology. So I spent, that time in Atlanta, and I met with the new manager there, and I met with the multi-unit manager, and I was, we mapped it out and made it better. And now we have a manager's training portal. And again, the nice thing about the training portal is, as we even update procedures, policies, you just take it out, put in the new one. Awesome. It's up to date, and you can always add to it. So start somewhere, right? Take your baseline and get it loaded and run them through it. Like I've always been a fan of, record your orientation. You can still deliver it live. I still deliver orientation live all the time, but get it recorded. And if you can't do it, you're busy that day. It doesn't mean you don't do orientation. You're going to watch the video version, and it's pretty darn close. It's 99%. They don't get the funny jokes about them.
Right.
Sorry.
And you don't have to start. I think you and I use this all the time. We don't have to start to be perfect, but you don't have to be perfect to start, but you got to start to be perfect.
Yes.
And if it's not just right, guys, you just get it out there and tweak it as you go. I mean, it's just that simple.
Yeah, that promotion thing's a good example. We shoved that thing out the door pretty hard and we got positive results. It didn't do anything bad. It only added. So, but again, if we just said, oh, we'll do it next month, right? I might have been up. I might not have been, Jimmy. It's hard to tell, right? The whole Barnum and Bailey thing, right? 50% of my market works, 50% doesn't. If I can figure out which 50% doesn't, I get rid of it.
Exactly. Well, I know this one works, so it's a good one.
It works. And that's literally, and so that's another thing. So what happened was we went back and we looked at and we analyzed, and this is another one, like not only do you need to run promotions, but you need to look at the data. So a year and a half in to owning the company, we're really starting to get good validated data that we can make better decisions on. And it's changing a lot of things. It's changing, our focus. It's changing where we're spending time, energy, and money. It's changing our future, and it's painting a different story that, we're able to tell, but we can really fact-based say, this is why, we're going in that direction because it's just more profitable and we know it. It's like, look, here it is. It's a document that says, income and then there's more.
Yeah,
so, so that data, getting your numbers. I mean, the biggest headache I've had to date is absolutely accounting. And you have been the champion you have been the light of my life. And Jimmy has been wrestling accounting. And when I say wrestling accounting, it's like, a 600-pound woman named Bertha. And he's got to, he's got to do an arm drag takedown, 3 times a week. And she fights back. Yeah, it's like it's like fixing a car. You're driving down the road at 80 miles an hour and Jimmy's out there adjusting the headlights. As I'm going, say, go faster.
Right. And it's not that I'm doing the accounting, everyone. It's the fact that I'm project managing this accounting repair, if you will. I'm not an accountant, not a CPA, but we both know enough to know what's right and wrong, and we can manage this task to get it done. And that's a strength of mine. That's for sure.
So I'm going to call you. I'm going to unplanned question. So what are your takeaways from your most recent accounting experience? And both Jimmy and I are accounting gurus at some level for many, 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 many years. What is your new takeaway? What's your new takeaway besides Martin Massa?
My new takeaway is the way we have structured the companies. They're not difficult. There are not a lot of moving parts in the accounting system. So I'm able to hire a bookkeeper to data enter in the small numbers, if you will. And then we can minimize our cost instead of a large accounting firm spending thousands of dollars every month, just putting the shit in the system. They can oversee quarterly what we've done and tie up everything in the quarter and give us, fiscal, good, solid stuff to give to the investors. And then we have added the Massa into the world, which is the finance guy who looks at all the money and helping us make decisions based on the numbers.
Strategically.
Exactly. We've uncluttered and uncomplicated our entire accounting world and systemized it so that we can move better, faster. And I think that's my takeaway is we took away a lot of the barriers that multiple accounting companies were holding us like we didn't know what the hell we were doing, but amongst friends, we do.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, we took over a pre-existing system, which is the worst. We probably should have just gutted it from the beginning. That's my takeaway, Jimmy. When you know you're right, you're right. Don't let other people talk you out of when you know it's the right answer, unless they can show you that you're wrong. Okay. But I'm telling you, we're doing the same damn thing that I've been doing for over 20 years. And we're right back here. So it was like, oh, well, we should do it this way. And you're like, no. And they're like, well, yeah, we do it this way. You know, you'll love it. I don't love it.
Change help.
Oh, stop. Right. Where's my towel? So it's like you just, and I got to say, that's like one of the big changes in the company is, you know, and I think we've talked about this a little bit, but we rolled out like a whole new kind of operating system for the company that really gets really deep on roles, responsibilities, and keeps people in their lanes. And
Yep.
like, that's a big change I see. And one of the things is that there's a role, right? So the role is the accounting controller, right? You're kind of filling in the accounting controller role right now, or you're looking at everything moving. Well, that's a role. It doesn't mean we change that role because the person can't do it or it's not their skill set. So, oh, we take this off of them and that'll go on Susie for a while. And you know, no, the role is the role is the role, right? When you have an org chart, you know, it does, you know, it's not their name, you know, and then the position, it's the position is what you put their name on. So
Yep.
if that position has responsibilities, if they can't do it, that's different. That is not a position problem. That is a person problem. And
Correct.
you can get them through that if you're willing to. And again, we've had some pretty, you know, high level people, you know, even people that I call good friends that have worked with us that have left the company over time because they just couldn't do what's involved in their role. And the reason why they were unsuccessful, Jimmy, as I go back and I look, right, hindsight is 2020. It's because the way they were managing people, they weren't managing like, say, 5 regions and the 5 managers for the regions the same. It was like, oh, well, this guy, he does this in his region. This guy does this. And it's like, well, why aren't they? Well, he's not very good at that. So I do that for him. And it's like, well, wait, now you have more stuff on you. Is that why you're not getting your job done? Like,
Yep.
you know, and it's like this like whole snowball.
Them. Yep. And I can't take somebody from the West Coast and move him to the East Coast because his wife got a transfer because it's operating differently. And that's the thing I took away was I can't move somebody up from Miami into Atlanta and have them just hit the ground running because it was different. Now you solve that problem.
Yeah. So now it's like, it is just, there's no difference. Like, it's like you got the job description, you know it, right? You got your daily, weekly, monthly, your weekly plan. Yep. Then why aren't you doing this? Like,
can you look at the camera with that straight face again and go, why are you not doing this?
So I walk up to a guy, Jimmy. This is one of my favorite things. This is one of the reasons why you want to standardize training. So I go into one of our facilities and I walk in and the guy, we use a certain color towel for a certain procedure. And the guy has the wrong color towel. So I call over to the manager. I'm like, hey, Mo, what's wrong with this picture? And he goes, wrong color towels. So I go up to the guy and I'm like, oh, so did you go through training? And he's like, oh, yeah. I go, so you went through all the videos and all the checklists? Oh, yeah. I go, then why do you have the wrong towels? Right. So I know that if he's telling me that he saw it and I know it's in there, then he should know. I don't feel bad. Like I already knew what the guy should know without ever meeting them. It's not like I got to go through, because one of the things I always do, it's like, I don't hold people responsible until I know that they know it, right? Like I don't just assume that people come in and they know how to do, you know, high level Excel spreadsheets. Like I'll ask them, they say yes. And then like, if they can do it, great. If they can't, then it's like, okay, like we got to work on that. And like, but I don't hold people accountable unless I know that I've communicated it. So how do I communicate things? Handbooks, training, right? So this guy, he had been through it all. He knew. He's seen me before. It wasn't like he met me for the first time. And I asked him and he's like, you know, oh yeah, I must have missed it. He goes, yeah, I'll have to go back and watch that training. I go, you're going to go back and watch all the training. Like,
and it's funny you bring that up because we break it into system problems and people problems. The system didn't break, the person broke, and we can massage that. And if it's a system thing, I can figure out where it broke and fix that. But that's how I break my world: system or people. There's only two things that could break. It's a system or a person.
That's it. So the other big thing that we've done, we have technician training, we have management training, and we have sales training. So I've spent the last few weeks really in this like sales mode. And for me, it's again, it's a system. The foundation of everything is a system, and it's formulaic, Jimmy. Like it's literally it's do something, right, to get them to move and identify if they're even a potential customer. Then you qualify them, right? And then you you get the right offer in front of them, and then you go for the jugular and you close them. And we're able to actually systematize that. So it's actually, I'd say it's probably 90% automated. And what we're doing with them is not only do we have sales training and a sales training portal, but we actually have a consumer portal. So instead of in the sales process, people are sending bids and proposals and, oh, here's my deck on this, right? You show them a slide deck and then you give it to them. It's like, no, it's all in there. Just go there. It's right there. It's all there. Oh yeah, that's there too. And,
right, it's all there.
It's all there. And then so that's a big change, I think, is just really stepping back from the sales process, looking at like what was keeping our salespeople busy. And they weren't busy selling and closing. They were busy in the process because it was manumation, I guess. They were manually automating it, right? And once I identified that, Kim, who works with us, she came in and, she actually like rebuilt it. And I think I mentioned this on another call or interview that I did, but she came back afterwards and she's like, I could make a lot more money just doing that, right? Like meaning running our sales, just by being behind the sales system with the way we do it. She's like, that's like ridiculously easy. And like, and then she's like, oh, well, I'm going to do more of that with success systems. So, she'll make more money anyway, but it was enlightening. And I've done some training on it. I've rolled out 3 different training sessions myself, and I'm doing a 4th one today. That's why I'm in Miami. And this one is like, I don't know what part of the other 3 you didn't get, but you're not doing it. So like, I'm either screwed up or you are. That's today's training.
Nice. We'll have to record that one too.
Oh yeah. I got the lights. I got everything. I came well prepared today to roll through some really, really good training, and we'll share some clips of that stuff with the world. There's a certain way we do it, how I do it. And, today is going to be just really brass tacks, what you need to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, activity wise. Not only, it's again, it's like it's the same, right? Every company is different, right? No, they're all the same. And this is, you have to put leads in the funnel, and then a certain amount are going to fall out the bottom, right? If you do everything through here, hey, we're going to have some more customers. So like, right. I literally want to teach them the activities around adding them and then managing the follow-up to closing them to launching. And, conceivably, I think with just this, I think we'll double the company again. So we've already doubled the company since we've taken over, and I think we'll double it again before the end of 2022. Any bets, any challenges out there? You guys on the YouTubes want to make some wagers? It's a multi-million-dollar swing, by the way. But
yeah, I don't see double. I actually see 1.5. I actually see more.
It could be more. Yeah, I'm with you. It's game changing. It's pretty revolutionary. But again, we couldn't have done it the way we were structured before without the people in their roles and with their responsibilities following the same plan. So that's a big one for everybody, I think. And takeaway is to really identify what needs to happen and don't let them not do it. And don't accept excuses. Jimmy, I am like lethal these days. I'm like really, really tight. I went back to old school time management, and I'll have to run my time management class for people, but
we haven't done that one in a while.
Yeah, we haven't done that. Value. Like it's about the value of your time, and if people are wasting it. So I have a couple of great quotes to wrap this up. So my new quote is, when people they want to tell you all the details about how they have to come up with a decision to do their job and they work for you. It's almost like validation, or like, and it
is validation.
My new one is, you know what? I don't need to see all the labor pains. I just need to see the goddamn kid. Like,
I saw that in an email. And one of my favorites is, if you're just bringing me a problem without a solution, you're just whining.
Oh,
so, it's
on
okay.
That note, Mr. Borneman, on that note, I agree. Those two things, it's like, God, just, yes, like making sausage. Like it's ugly and messy, but got to taste good. Like I just want to eat it.
I know, right? And as we're wrapping up, I want to compliment you on one more thing tied to sales and to my customer care team and that 26%. And I believe that the only really reason that we're doing that is you gave them a script, Jonathan, and they aren't swaying from that script. I hear it 28 times a day when I'm talking to these guys and listening to the recordings. They saying the same thing over and over and over with excitement. And that one little, not only did you create the promotion, but then you were smart enough to make sure that the people that are really going to do it, which is our inbound call center, are saying what you want them to say, and they're doing it.
Yeah.
It was a home run hit. I mean, it was
so the next big one on that, Jimmy, is, again, it's retention, right? So we've talked about, hiring, we've talked about onboarding and, doing that right. The next one is really like, and I'll talk more about it because I have a lot of really good ideas, but now it's time to like build some metrics and reward those folks, right? Like I'm telling you, like, I'm not gluttonous that like, it's all about me. Like I believe that my role is to increase the value of our companies for all of these stakeholders, and stakeholders to be our employees, they're investors, they're people that own franchises, that, they're me, you, they're our kids, they're, those are like, I literally work my butt off. I believe it's my job to make the people that work for us lives easier so we can make it better, faster. So now it's the time to like go, like, again, it's like a new year, new time. Like it's time to kind of rerun the bonus programs and like, let's give them some incentives. Let's give them like, there's an old story about, God, who was it that came into the steel industry? It's it's like, oh, I forget. It's one of the old guys, but he worked with Carnegie. It's not Carnegie. It's the banker that actually did it. But anyway, I'll remember. But there's an old story where they, at the end of the day shift, he wrote in chalk. Okay, so a little piece of white chalk, like quadrupled 10x production. So here's what he would do. At the end of the day, or at the end of the morning shift, he would write on the floor the number of how many units the daytime shift got out. So now big, right? And now the nighttime crew comes in and they look at the floor and they see the numbers 4. Well, guess what they did that night?
5.
Guess what the day shift did the next day, right?
6.
So what was the benchmark before was 4, which was acceptable. In a matter of 2 days, they upped it by 50%. In a matter of a week, it went up by 100%. In a matter of a year, they 10x that sucker. And that's what blew up and was the revolution that built our country, the Industrial Revolution, fueled by steel. And that's how they did it. A little piece of chalk as big as your willy, they did it with.
Yep. And then today's digital revolution. Exactly. Kiss and tell.
Yeah. It's metrics, right? It's the same thing. It's having data. And then like, okay, well, we got there with, and when you do stuff over time, it gets easier, right? I always talk about somebody a job description, load it up a little bit more than you think they can do the first day, week, or month, because they'll figure out how to do it and then they'll make it work inside of their 8 hours or whatever.
Inside their parameters.
So again, if we're selling this, there's no reason that if we don't think about how to make it easier, faster, like we can't increase it. But I want to reward them. That's what I was going to is I now want to take that metric and I want to write on the wall, we sold, whatever it is, if it's the percentage or if it's the number that we sold, and I like to bonus people off a profit personally, but I want to have some more contests. And I put one out there for the salespeople. And, it's like the winner of the sales contest for the first quarter is going to get an all expense paid trip to Las Vegas for 3 days. And that's airfare, food, lodging, right? I'll find a cool show for them to go to. But the reason that I did it as an actual event and I didn't give them cash is because people, when you give them cash, feel like they need to use that cash, pay bills, do something, and they wouldn't take that trip. And I want them to take the trip. I want them to take pictures. I want to tell them friends. I want them to go take time off, and it's just different. So remember that as you reward people, it's not just cash and a raise and all that kind of stuff. It's effective.
It only lasts so long. Yep.
It only goes so far. Right. I mean, so that's how I want to finish today. And we'll talk more about that as we roll out some ideas about, the metrics and how to do that as we start to collect, we're 19 days
in. It's 6 o'clock.
we collect the first months of data and what that does. We'll share that with the world as well. So Jimmy, as always, I love you. You heard my computer yells at me on the hour, like what to do. So it says it's 6 o'clock and I got another room to be in.
Exactly. Good being back. Talk soon. Peace
Signing
out.
off. Thank you guys
All
for
right, love
tuning
you,
in.
man.
Hit the bell, subscribe.